Chris McCurry, who I do the podcast with, he talks about parenting being a wicked environment. He means that it's very unpredictable. One day one thing works and suddenly the next day it doesn't work anymore. And it's so changeable. And I think what we most need as parents is compassion and kindness. We work much longer hours than our parents ever did. We parent much more than our parents ever did. And it's hard. It's hard. And our kids need parents who are kind to themselves, not that get it right all the time.
Yeah, one thing I didn't realize as a parent is just what a blank slate kids are. So like when I would discipline or when I would say, did something wrong, how that reassurance part, because in my mind, I'm like, well, of course I love you. And I didn't think that I needed to give that reassurance to them because in my mind, it's just always there.
Yeah. But I'd love to know from a developmental psychology perspective, does a child's ability to make decisions actually evolve as their brain develops?
I do know like the child's brain is not an adult brain. When I know in psychology, way back when, I think we, viewed physiologically, we viewed kids as like little mini adults, which is just not the case, right? Yeah. And even from a physiological perspective, I guess the big thing that happens in children with our brains, there's this neurological pruning, is how the brain is not as an organ reaching adulthood until our early 20s. Do you think cognitive load that children face is changing kind of the foundations of their psychology?
I think what we are witnessing is young people are more anxious. In fact, we know that in terms of risk factors for mental health, everybody's familiar with socioeconomic, sort of poverty, living in a violent neighborhood, experiencing abuse. All of these are tremendous risk factors, what we call adverse childhood events. But now they've added attending a high-performing school as a risk factor for mental health.
Wow.
I know. So in terms of a cognitive load, I think what we are doing is we're living in what some have coined the toxic achievement culture. When you go to a high performance sort of school, grades are very, very important. It's all about the outcome. And children miss out on enjoying the process of learning and enjoying other interests. And there are some very academic kids who really thrive in those environments and can do very well. But there are kids who are not.